The making of Titanic. A story of passion, peril, and perseverance. In 1995, James Cameron, the visionary director behind The Terminator and Aliens, had an idea. A love story set against the tragic sinking of the R.M.S. Titanic. But this wouldn't just be any romance. It would be an epic, a grand spectacle that would immerse audiences in the opulence and horror of the doomed ship. Little did he know, making Titanic would become as dramatic as the film itself. Cameron, a perfectionist with a passion for deep-sea exploration, had always been fascinated by the Titanic wreck. He pitched his idea to 20th Century Fox, describing it as Romeo and Juliet on a sinking ship. The studio was hesitant. Period dramas weren't big moneymakers, and the budget was projected to be enormous. But Cameron was relentless. He convinced them by cutting his own salary in exchange for creative control. To bring the Titanic to life, Cameron demanded absolute authenticity. Fox built a massive 775-foot-long replica of the ship in Rosarito, Mexico, only 10% shorter than the original. The set included fully constructed decks, a grand staircase, and even working boilers. The attention to detail was staggering. Real silverware with the White Star Line logo, hand-stitched period costumes, and exact replicas of the ship's furnishings. But the real challenge was the water. The film required a 17-million-gallon tank to flood the set for the sinking scenes. The cast and crew endured grueling months of night shoots in freezing water. Kate Winslet, Rose, later admitted she nearly quit due to exhaustion and hypothermia. Leonardo DiCaprio, Jack, famously joked, "I'll never complain about cold water again." As filming dragged on, the budget ballooned to $200 million, the most expensive movie ever made at the time. Studio executives panicked, whispering that Titanic would sink Fox. The press dubbed it Cameron's folly, predicting a disaster. Tensions ran high. Cameron, known for his intense demeanor, pushed his crew to the limit. He once yelled, "I'm the king of the world," in frustration, a line that would later become iconic when DiCaprio shouted it in the film. The music that touched hearts. Amid the chaos, composer James Horner secretly worked on the score without studio approval. He collaborated with Norwegian singer Sissel Kyrkjebø and lyricist Will Jennings to create My Heart Will Go On. When Celine Dion first heard the demo, she wasn't sure about recording it, but once she did, it became one of the greatest movie themes of all time. The Mexican sun scorched the coastline of Rosarito Beach, a stark contrast to the icy Atlantic waters James Cameron hoped to recreate. A massive construction site buzzed with workers, engineers, and film crew, all building a nearly full-scale replica of the R.M.S. Titanic. They called it Titanicland, and for over a year, it was the most ambitious film set ever constructed. On set, Leonardo DiCaprio was an easygoing 22-year-old, cracking jokes and dodging seagulls. But Kate Winslet, just 21, was all business. She slipped and bruised herself in nearly every water scene and once got hypothermia from filming in the icy tanks. "You don't understand," she snapped at a grip during a long night shoot. "This dress weighs 50 pounds wet." Meanwhile, crew members were getting sick from working long nights in water treated with so many chemicals that their eyes burned red for hours. There was even a mysterious incident where someone laced the cast and crew's clam chowder with PCP, sending more than 50 people to the hospital. Cameron, of course, kept filming through it all. The famous "I'm flying" scene almost didn't happen. The wind was brutal that day, and Leo kept slipping on the railing. "Jim, this is ridiculous," he shouted after the fifth take. But Cameron was relentless. "You want people to believe you're in love? Then suffer for it." Finally, Kate grabbed Leo's hand and whispered, "Just hold me tight." The rest is cinematic magic. As the budget ballooned to over $200 million, studio executives began to panic. "You're going to bankrupt us," they warned Cameron. But he smirked, "You just wait until they see the ship sink." On the final day of shooting the sinking sequence, Cameron, drenched, hoarse, and exhausted, called cut, and looked around at the destroyed set. "We went down with the ship," he muttered, "but at least we got it on film." When Titanic premiered in December 1997, the studio braced for failure. But the impossible happened. Audiences fell in love. The film became a global phenomenon, grossing over $2.2 billion, a record it held for over a decade. It won 11 Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Director. Cameron, holding his golden statue, quipped, "I'm the king of the world." Finally able to laugh at the struggle. What started as a risky passion project became a cinematic milestone. Titanic wasn't just a movie. It was an experience, a testament to ambition, love, and the relentless pursuit of art. And behind the scenes, the making of Titanic proved that sometimes, against all odds, dreams really do come true. Alan Tudyk, Endor, Pruitt Taylor Vince, Bird Box, and Neva Howell, Greedy People. Superman is where a costumed hero soars over the crowd. But it's not actually Superman, it's Daredevil pilot Mike Carlin, suspended on nearly invisible wires. "I've done this for 12 years, Carlin laughs. "Once, a kid asked if I could heat vision a hot dog for him. Had to break his heart." Superman has made surprise appearances, but only twice, once to catch a malfunctioning float, and another time to stop a pickpocket ring targeting tourists. Superman Day has an unspoken rule: no arrests for petty crimes if the culprit volunteers at a